The health department had shut that pool down before we moved into that hotel.
In 1994, an inspector had ordered the wading pool closed after finding the main drain grate is broken off and must be replaced. A year later, the problem still hadn't been adequately fixed when Williams sat down on the drain. His mother became concerned when she noticed he wasn't moving.
I said, "What are you doing?" And it wasn't so much of a scream or a holler, but it was more of a faint cry. Ma, it's shaking. And I went over to see what was wrong. And I said, "What are you doing?" And I went to go pick him up. And when I lifted him from underneath the arms from the back, I couldn't get him out of the hole.
She called for help. A hotel employee ran to find the shutoff switch, which was far from the pool area, down a walkway, through 2 doors, back outside, and in this electrical room, where the pump was finally turned off.
He popped up out of the hole, and I hollered, "He's free." And next thing I know, there was blood all over the pool. Intestines.
The suction from the pool drain had literally pulled most of William's intestines out of his body through his anus. His parents rushed him to Johns Hopkins Children's Center, where doctors told them intestines cannot be repaired or reattached once they're outside the body.
They've done wonders with him. They've saved his life. But I also have to look at reality that I could lose my son at any time. He's barely got any insides left.
A year and 6 operations later, William is hooked up to liquid feeding tubes 24 hours a day.
Summer's here. I have 3 children that still want to go swimming. But I'm terrified. I will not let them in that pool until I double check and triple check.
But most parents don't know to check the drain covers before they or their kids go into the pool or hot tub. Most have never heard about the potential dangers of improperly covered drains.
We have a lot of pools out there that are bombs, that are ticking bombs.
Aquatic expert Tom Ebro has investigated a number of drain entrapments. He believes there have been many more than the 65 to 75 reported cases since 1978.
In those drowning situations, in those disembowelment and serious injuries cases, those are reported, of course. But I think there's far too many very close accidents that could have been fatal.
That don't go reported.
That don't go reported.
Still, David Carmel of the National Spa and Pool Institute says drain entrapment is a very rare accident.
And certainly the accidents that happen are tragic, and they're very tragic because they could be prevented by simple compliance with our standards.
But the industry's voluntary standards, says Tom Ebro, are not stringent enough.
The industry still to this day doesn't address the need for an emergency shutoff switch.
In a number of these tragic accidents, the shutoff switch for the pump has been far away from the actual spa. Does your standard require there to be a shutoff switch nearby?
The standard does not address where the shutoff switch is, because we try to prevent the accident from happening in the first place.
But while the industry recommends all hot tubs have more than one drain outlet for each pump, there's no such recommendation for swimming and wading pools. 3 years ago, this kiddie pool in Raleigh, North Carolina, had only one drain, and the county inspector did not notice the drain cover was loose.
This is the way the drain was at the time the inspector came.
Yes.
Right? It could be lifted off just like this.
Yes.
Okay, it wasn't screwed down.
No, it was not.
Catherine Bond says no one at their community pool association knew the cover should have been screwed down. Neither did Valerie Lakey, now 8 years old.
Was the drain something that the kids at the pool would play with?
Yeah.
Take the cover off and...
You know, one of my friends took the cover off and sat on it and got back up and told me to sit on it.
What did it feel like?
Felt like somebody was grabbing me.
What did happen to you?
Well, the drain, I think, sucked a few of my intestines out.
Valerie lost more than 50% of her intestines. And while her parents say she's recently been able to resume a relatively normal life during the day, at night, the seriousness of her medical condition is apparent.
I did it.
We feel strongly that it never should have happened.
That wasn't an accident.
Well, it was preventable. I mean, accidents are, things that you can't help.
Dave and Sandy Lakey have worked to change the law in North Carolina. Now all pools in that state must have 2 drain outlets for each suction pump. This way, if one drain is covered by a body, the water can flow through the other outlet, almost completely eliminating the chance of a suction lock. But that's not required in most other states.
I'm certain that North Carolina isn't the only place where people ever built single drain wading pools.
This man, David Stengel, has invented a device that goes inside a pool or spa pump and automatically shuts off the suction if the drain is obstructed and sounds an alarm. While it performed well in recent government tests, it's not yet widely available. In the meantime, catastrophic drain entrapments remain a real danger.
You worry about your children crossing the street, and you worry about all the things that can happen to your children, and this is just one of those things you never, ever thought of.
Wow. Arnold, first, could you list the best ways to avoid this in a pool?
Well, we should emphasize that parents should definitely check the drain cover, make sure it's not loose or cracked, and don't let your kids play around it or sit around it in any case. And anyone who has long hair should keep that hair away from the drain covers. There have been a number of drownings from hair that got caught in the grates.
And they couldn't get loose.
They couldn't get loose.
What's happened with Valerie and William since you reported first?
Valerie's had a rough year in and out of the hospital. Both her family and William's family have received settlements of more than $20 million from their lawsuits. But the families say that money could be easily eaten up by what could be a lifetime of medical care ahead.
You know, in addition to a cutoff switch, better might be a automatic shutoff when the drain is obstructed.
That would be the perfect answer.